Hello, and welcome to Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter, a podcast where Dr. O from All Creatures Every Spine interviews doctors and animal owners that utilize animal chiropractic to get their unique perspectives. Yes, it's really a thing. Dr. O utilizes his 30 years of experience as both an animal chiropractor and veterinarian, and to dig deep into the discussion of complex issues affecting the lives of your animal friends and companions. Join us for this educational episode. Thanks for joining us for this portion of the episode as Dr. O begins to answer the question, what is animal chiropractic? He will look at how the chiropractic adjustment is a valuable and viable treatment for what ails your animals.
What is animal chiropractic? Animal chiropractic gets to the root of the problem. What we do as animal chiropractors is we go in, we remove nervous system interference from your animal's body. What that is it helps get rid of warning signs, which are symptoms. So symptoms, vomiting, diarrhea, lameness, achiness, all those things are just symptoms of a problem. Just like if the warning check engine light is on in your car, all right? That check engine light is just a warning. And if you cover it up with black duct tape, it really doesn't do anything, but it's gone. The warning's gone. So if we get rid of, we give an anti-inflammatory to your dog, we make it so they don't puke anymore, we give them an antiemetic, non-vomiting, all those things get rid of the symptoms, but they never really get to the cause of the problem. So we need to take that black tape off the warning light. We need to go in and find out, good mechanic could go in and find out what the code is. That code is say, you have a vertebral subluxation at COC1. You have a vertebral subluxation at T6, T7. That's what's causing the pancreatitis problem. We remove those two vertebral subluxations and everything should be better. We got to and then we'll keep them in shape. Your air filter's plugged. We have to keep it clean. It's not a one-time deal. It's a procedure. And those are the kinds of things that your animal chiropractor is going to do. So as an animal chiropractor, we're going to go in. We're going to make sure the warning lights stay turned off. Okay? Because if we see a warning light, it means there's damage being done. So that's what we're going to do as animal chiropractors. We're going to keep those warning lights off.
Make sure to visit our website, allcreatureseveryspine.com, where you can subscribe to the show and learn more about getting your animals adjusted. If you are in the Meridian, Texas area, drop in on a Tuesday afternoon to get your animals adjusted. If that isn't possible, schedule a consultation on your animal's health with Dr. O. You can also purchase a copy of Dr. O's book. Yes, it's really a thing.
Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. For me, my hero is Frank, my best friend. But even the greatest heroes need help sometimes. Frank and I were at the park the other day when he started limping and favoring his left leg. I didn't see what happened, but I could tell something was wrong. So we went to see Frank's favorite vet, Yvette. Yvette the vet. After running some tests, she determined that Frank had torn his ACL. His best option was surgery. But unfortunately for me, surgery wasn't an option. So what could I possibly do to be a hero to my hurting hero? That was when Yvette told us about Hero Braces. She took a quick cast of his leg and said this mold would be used to create a biomechanically designed stifle brace, custom-made just for Frank, allowing his body's natural healing processes to take over and stabilize the knee. About 2 weeks later, she fitted the brace, and gave us the green light to walk, hike, and snuggle, and do all the activities that Frank and I were used to doing. It was that simple. Hero braces are lightweight, don't stretch or tear, and are durably designed to last the life of your dog. So Frank can get back to being Frank. Like I said, Heroes come in all shapes and sizes. And lucky for us, so do Hero braces.
Hello everyone, and welcome to barfworld.com. If you're seeing this video, it typically means you're interested in trying our 90-day challenge. If your pet is suffering from allergies, kidney issues, obesity, diabetes, or even cancer, our food can help with that. So if you're ready to see your pet's health dramatically improve in just 90 days, call us and schedule your consultation today. Hope to talk to you guys soon.
What is going on, everyone? My name is Stan Smith. I'm the CEO of X-Dog and the inventor of the X-Dog Weight and Fitness Vest. What is the X-Dog Weight and Fitness Vest? In a nutshell, it is the world's greatest harness for dogs. It doesn't matter what you're doing. If you're looking to build muscle, combat obesity, address anxiety issues, high energy, you want to suppress that energy level. If you just want to take the average walk and turn it into a health improving workout, we made it so convenient to exercise your dog that you literally only need about 30 seconds a day. It doesn't matter if you're doing basic obedience training or compete at high level dog sports or in protection sports. The X-Dog Weight and Fitness Vest can enhance it and take any type of daily lifestyle to the next level. If you want to be part of our mission of eliminating canine obesity or just being a part of our team, make sure you go to teamxdog.com. As always, man, I want to thank you for your time and your support, and Team X-Dog strong.
Join us as Dr. O interviews a certified chiropractor, veterinarian, or an animal owner. These enthusiastic people explain how they utilize animal chiropractic to alter the lives of the animals in their communities.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Animal Chiropractic Clinic Chatter. I'm your host, Dr. O. Today we have Dr. Darryl with us. So how are you doing today, Doc?
I'm doing great. Still just trying to manage the heat here in Arizona.
Tell us a little bit about your practice.
So my practice, we are a 6-doctor large animal, mixed large animal, I would guess, if you will, mobile practice. So we do a fair amount of dairies and then beef, cattle, horses, sheep, goats, pigs, that kind of a thing, but we're strictly mobile. So it's unique because we're in a urban area, being in the outskirts of Phoenix. And so a lot of people have pet livestock. So there's a lot of different medicine than the production livestock side of things. It's pet livestock, a lot of it. So it's a unique livestock practice.
Well, it is. And, you know, one of the things that we're going to talk about in 3 weeks in our food animal course is, so we will go in the morning, just so everybody that's coming, we go in the morning to a merino wool production facility. And we will go through 100 ewes, rams, sheep, babies in a little under an hour.
Wow.
And we hit the major production things. We'll check everybody's atlas. We check everybody's pelvis. Any really gross, whoa, look at that back. Correct all those things. And we do that once a year. And we've been doing it. This will be our 4th year there, and they've noticed a difference in wool production.
Really?
Yeah. Both on amount and grading. And in fact, the first year we were there, we got there and they were like, yeah, we got about 80 in for you. The other one, we just couldn't get the other ones in. And so we adjusted those 80 and they weren't really, excited about it. They didn't really know what to expect, right? And then the next year we get there, and I get a text as we're pulling up. Stay there. We almost have everybody in. And
Notice the difference.
it took them an extra. They said, it took us an extra 30 minutes. We had a few stragglers, but we wanted to make sure we had everybody for you.
That's awesome.
And the next year they'd fixed a couple things with their facilities to make it even better. And and every year he invites the newspaper out, and
that's awesome.
yeah. And so it's like, cool. So that's what we do in the morning. And then after lunch, we'll go to the ag barn, and we'll do probably about 38 to 40 show lambs, right?
Yeah.
And then it'd take us about 3 hours.
That's awesome.
Because it's like you said, it's a totally different kind of chiropractic medicine, you know? Yeah. So anyway, what's your biggest win with animal chiropractic?
I've had a couple really cool wins that stand out. I've had the cool opportunity to mostly adjust horses, but also do some show cattle, some goats, just some random things other than just the horses. So my first big win was actually when I was still in the middle of the course. I hadn't completed it all the way. And I saw a 3-year-old buck goat. And I went there not for chiropractic, but he was down in the hind end and unable, he could pull himself with his front legs, but just hind limb weakness really severely. So I went there for medicine, and I ended up just palpating to see what was going on. And I could feel that his pelvis was severely rotated. And so I asked him if I could just do some chiropractic work on him and see if that helped. And I adjusted his pelvis in a few different places in his lumbar vertebrae. And I kid you not, he got up and walked. And I was also shocked because I figured it would help him, but I didn't think it was going to make that big of a difference. Yes. He still kind of drug the one leg. I think he had some nerve damage from that, but he actually was able to walk, and the clients were absolutely in awe that it did that. And so then we gave him some medication to help with the inflammation as well, and he's been doing great. So that was a huge win. And then my other one that I like to tell is my husband is an equine lameness vet, and so we battle back and forth of, well, did you fix it or did I fix it? And if I can't fix it, I'll send it to him for a joint injection workup or vice versa. And so he saw this horse for a shoulder problem. When she was walking, she would drag her front foot almost like it would get locked backwards, and she'd kind of stumble, and then she'd be able to flick it forwards and kind of come out of it. And he did a full lameness workup on her and couldn't find anything that he could fix. So I worked on her, and after 2 adjustments, she stopped doing it and never did it again. And so that client always, whenever I go there for the rest of her horses, she's like, don't forget to tell your husband that you fixed the one that he couldn't fix. So those are my 2 favorites.
Yeah, well, cool. So your husband refers to you, but what about the other doctors?
Yeah, all the doctors in my practice refer to me for sure, especially with other species as well, which is cool because it's like, well, it's not something that is responding to conventional treatment, so let's see if we can do chiropractic, or the other way around. Sometimes they'll see something and say, I think this might be a chiropractic case. Let's get you scheduled with Dr. Casterton and see if that helps first, kind of go that way. So I've gotten lots of word of mouth referrals and referrals from other vets, both in my practice and my husband's practice.
Cool.
So that's been awesome.
That's kind of neat. So what has animal chiropractic done for your family?
So for my family, well, this little
Tony Timar.
Cool.
Oh boy. It's given me a lot of flexibility with both our kids, to not have to be on call as much, have more flexibility in my scheduling. I can have people, meet me at a show and I can go there and adjust for an afternoon, or I can schedule at a whole barn for an afternoon and make all my money in one place at one time, and be done a little bit early, get to start a little bit later, have more control over my schedule. So the flexibility of it and the non-emergency side of it are the two things that have really freed up my schedule, especially for my husband being a vet, also having both of us on call a lot and having very busy vet schedules. It's freed up me to be able to do the mom stuff a little bit, and that's been awesome.
Yeah, I'll bet. So, because it's kind of hard when you're on call.
Yeah.
One of you's on call.
When we're both on call, then it gets a little tricky.
Yeah, who's going to watch the kids, you know?
Yeah. Good thing grandma lives close.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Amy's first tech, her job was to basically babysit if Robert wasn't sleeping, and drive between farm calls so that Dr. Amy could sit in the back and nurse.
Yep. Yeah, I believe it. It's a challenge to balance it all for sure.
Yeah. So, so what do you wish all the animal owners knew about chiropractic?
I have a variety of clients. I'm sure all chiropractors do. I have the ones who want routine work done at a set schedule to keep their horses performing at their best. And then I have the ones that have been having this problem for years and they've never had anything done with it. And now they want it to be fixed, but it's not just a one-time fix kind of a thing. So I feel like I've got two ends of the spectrum. I don't really have a lot of in between. And I wish that people would know that if we did routine adjustments, it would prevent the bad stuff or the expensive stuff from happening and things like that. And the sooner that we can correct the problem, the better the long-term outcome. And I think a lot of people don't call the chiropractor until something's wrong. And then it's oftentimes harder or more expensive to correct it at that point.
Yeah, I saw a dog yesterday that so we see this dog every month, like clockwork. Dog has a ton of problems in her back, but we're able to keep her moving and keep her working appropriately and doing her job. And she's 13, German Shepherd.
That's awesome.
Been a protection dog. They canceled last month. 10 days after I was supposed to be there, she had to have GI motility surgery.
Oh, no.
And then they said, yeah, we should have come to you afterwards, because I talk about how after surgery, before surgery, all good times to get adjusted, but we didn't. And so then 2 weeks after the first surgery, she had her gut bloated and twisted, and she had to have another emergency surgery. So they came yesterday to get her adjusted, and they said, what do you think? I'm like, man, missing that one visit, because so normally they like to have about 25 to 30 dogs at their place, because I have a minimum. I don't go to a farm for less than $2,500. So if there's only 8 dogs there, it becomes expensive. And they like to have at least 25 or 30 dogs scheduled, and they only had 15. So her 8 dogs would have probably cost about $1,000 for 8 dogs instead of 800, right? That extra 200, they just decided, no, we're just going to cancel for this month. And I'm like,
and then it added up for them.
That 200, I think you spent that somewhere.
Yeah, you definitely did.
So, but yeah, when you do the, how many horses that you see on a routine basis do stupid things like run through fences?
Oh yeah, all the time.
They quit, don't they? They quit doing the stupid things.
Oh, I guess I don't know that I've seen that trend. I'll have to pay better attention to that.
Well, because they make better
And see
decisions.
if their brain's in a better place. Yeah, that's interesting.
The ones that you see routinely, like we almost never have to stitch up a horse that we've been
That
adjusting
you've been adjusting. Huh, that's interesting. I'm gonna pay
because
attention to that.
they decide that the little white plastic lion that's in the pasture chasing them probably isn't going to hurt them as bad as running through the fence. You know?
Yeah.
Because obviously horses that run through fences are scared of something.
Right.
But if we can keep that sympathetic parasympathetic nervous system balanced, yeah. So take a look at that. I think you'll, and a lot less colics, surgeries. Like Dr. Armentrout, who's a referral surgeon, told me that she adjusts everything when it gets to her, even though it's referral. So that means that somebody's been messing with this horse for probably 5 or 6 hours already, right?
Yep.
And she adjusts them, and she goes, most of them we can postpone surgery till tomorrow morning, and so we don't have to do it in the middle of the night. And so her success rates go up.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah. And she also, just to tell your husband this, she has 2 lameness exams now. So she has a normal lameness exam, which is like $600 because it includes, blocking and some x-rays. Yeah. All right. But it's only available after 3 chiropractic adjustments.
Yeah.
And if you want if you want her to do a lameness exam before that, then it's called an emergency lameness exam, and it's $1,800. And she hasn't done a regular lameness exam in like a year and a half since she started doing that, because after 3 adjustments,
A lot of things.
yeah. And so, and she says it's so much easier to do and time efficient to do a chiropractic adjustment, and then come back in a week or come back in 10 days, Now, every horse is better when it leaves than when it came in. And if not, then she says, okay, well, let's, or if it comes in for a lameness exam and it's an obvious fracture, she's like, well, no, this isn't a lameness exam.
Yeah, it's not a lameness. Yeah.
It's a fracture repair.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so how are people taking to the chiropractic when you mention it?
People love it. I don't think I've had very many negative responses. A lot of people will be like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing to adjust animals. And then I'll kind of explain it. But a lot of people do know of it. And either they have done it before, maybe once on their horse a long time ago, or they do it routinely. But a lot of people are very open to it. So,
or they had a layperson do it that really didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah, there are a couple of people in this area that don't do a good job, and people recognize that they didn't do a good job. So that's good, at least.
Yeah, and so once you show them what you can do,
they realize the difference.
So what's your biggest surprise with animal chiropractic?
I think probably how fast I've gained a clientele. I figured it was something that would take a while, word of mouth, time, advertising before I got a lot of people, but it has been very fast, and I've got a lot of clients, a lot of routine clients. People somehow end up with my personal number. I don't know how, and call just wanting to get scheduled, and which is great. I'm so glad that, I have people one, that means that it's working and people like the work that I'm doing, so they're giving my name out. But that, I think, was a surprise for me. I was always very interested in it, but I wasn't sure how it was going to take off.
So define fast.
I think I finished the course 2 years ago, right about now. I think I finished it in the fall. And then I would say within maybe a couple of months, I was doing at least a handful every week. And now I'll have 10 to 15 a week that I do. Depends on the week. Some weeks I don't have any and I fill it with other vet work. It just kind of depends, but I could probably do only chiropractic at this point if I wanted to.
Yeah, cool.
And it's been less than 2 years that I've really been advertising it.
And you haven't started advertising production medicine yet.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. So in your practice, if you start advertising production chiropractic, where you just go out and do, and we laugh, but there's we have a lady in Iowa that her whole goal from like in high school, she was going to be a chiropractor and go to barrel races and adjust horses and people.
The people, yep.
And that was her dream.
Yep.
Okay. And she did that. And then a couple people asked her to do some show steers and da-da-da. And so she came to food animal class and she started and she developed a marketing plan. And now she does food animals by the hour and she charges a flat rate. It's $1,000 an hour. But how many expenses do you have in that hour?
Nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. And that keeps them bringing her animals.
Yep.
So it's quick. And she's booked out for the whole year.
Oh, wow.
Yep. They book her like a year in advance. And so she's got 3 days a week, okay, that she works like 6 hours a day doing cattle and pigs.
That's cool.
Chiropractic only.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I would love to get into the show world a little bit.
Yeah. And now when she goes to a barrel race, she often forgets to take her portable human table and sometimes even her horse bale.
That's funny. Just need to enjoy the barrel race.
Yep. She's like, well, yeah, I can adjust you. Oh man, my hand forgot to put the table in.
Smart.
maybe next time, Anyway, so yeah, it's but she's like, it got to be where I could enjoy what I wanted.
Yeah.
Which is nice, to be able to have boundaries and be able to say no.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
As veterinarians,
I'm not good at that.
I used to adjust horses at halftime of football games. So yeah, it's it's hard to say no sometimes, right?
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, we charged accordingly though. What would you tell veterinarians that are thinking about adding chiropractic?
I think it's an awesome tool to have in your back pocket as a veterinarian, because you can either go as a chiropractor and do that, or you can go as a veterinarian and decide whether chiropractic is our first mode of action, or if a surgery is needed. If there's something else that's needed in conjunction with the chiropractic, or if finances are tough, you can start with chiropractic adjustment, which is going to be cheaper than trying to do x-rays or, stuff like that. It just gives you another option to give your clients. And I love that, to be able to do both. So I think it's awesome.
Yeah. I know a lot of times we, people will come in for something and we adjust and then we're like, oh yeah, well, let's just do that. And they ask questions. Like I had a boxer in yesterday, and we could have done ozone, or we could have done some acupuncture, and we could have done some cold. And we probably could have run the bill up to $1,000 easy. And, but we just adjusted, and the dog looked better, acted like she felt better. And we said, hey, let's just do this for 3 visits and see where we're at.
Yeah.
And then we'll go from there.
Yeah.
And it's a dog they just got out of the rescue, and it's itching really bad. One of the drugs that it was on causes itching and irritated skin. I was like, well, maybe maybe that may not be the best drug to have this particular boxer on.
Yeah.
So let's take her off that. And so we're just going to see what happens. But if we do need to add some other stuff, we'll know that these other things didn't work. But if we did it all at once,
Yeah, then it's hard to know. But I have a lot of clients who specifically use me because they know that if the chiropractic doesn't work, then I can help them decide what the next route of action is, rather than seeing a chiropractor first. And then if that doesn't work, it's like, well, I guess you'd better call a vet now and start the whole process over again. So clients like that you can give perspective from both sides too.
Yeah. Yes. And, sometimes they want things to happen too fast because the veterinary world, we mask everything.
Yep.
And so it looks better immediately.
Better right away. Yeah.
Yeah. And in the chiropractic world, we're so cruel. We make the body do its own thing.
Right.
But it truly does get better.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. Any parting words of wisdom?
I don't have very much wisdom.
Well, you do. How many kids did you have when you came to school?
0.
And how many do you have now?
2.
2. So yeah. So it really helped your family grow, didn't it?
Yeah, it did.
Having the time. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's been awesome. And I love doing it. It's still physical work, but it's not as physical compared to some of the other livestock work that you do, palpating large herds, stuff like that. So it's nice because it still keeps me active, but it doesn't overstrain my body. I still was adjusting horses the week before I gave birth to this guy, just because my body was able to physically still do it. And if you set yourself up right, then you're not really at risk of doing damage to your body. So that's great. I love that aspect of it too. But I would just say that if anybody's considering coming and taking the course, I would just do it because you won't regret it. And even if you don't use it a ton, you will, and you'll learn more every animal that you adjust, and it's only going to make your practice better. So
yeah. And one of the things you said about your up to a week before, but Dr. Amy's biomechanics are what allowed you to do that.
Yeah, totally.
Being that body Nazi that she is.
Exactly. Yeah, I think I did 7 horses one day the week before he was due. And it was fine. It was no big deal because I know how to use my body, and that's so important.
Yeah. Because I see pictures on Facebook, of other people that haven't come through here adjusting, and you're like, oh,
ooh, that doesn't like
that's gonna hurt somebody, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, and that's when they're not pregnant. I just look at them and I can't even imagine them trying to adjust like that when they were pregnant,
Right. Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
All right. What was the hardest thing about animal chiropractic?
The hardest thing, I would say, was while I was taking the course, wrapping my mind around the setups. Because when I go through a horse and adjust right now, I know my system. I've got my same exact way that I go through every horse. I feel every vertebrae. I adjust as I go. But if you asked me, what was that setup? I'd have to be like, I guess it was C4 right. You know, because my brain doesn't, as a vet, my brain doesn't think about things like that. So honestly, when we were doing the setups in school, that was tricky for me to wrap my head around. I knew what needed to be adjusted, but I didn't necessarily know instantly what it was that I was setting up on. And so now that I've been just in practice and doing it more and then doing all my records, that now I find a vertebrae that needs something and I know which one it is just because I've got my hands on them. But at the beginning, that was hard for me. I'd have to count where I was all the time just because my brain wasn't used to knowing which vertebrae was which. But now that my hands know where they are, that part is not a problem anymore.
And I mean, and in students would say, Dr. O, can you show me how to set up on this? And I'm like, no, I can't, because one of the reasons I can't is because if I get there, like my muscle memory, when I get to an atlas superior on the right in a dog, I probably do 20 of those a week, right? Yeah. And so if I get that, it's just like, no.
You just do it. Yeah, you don't know how to teach it. You just do. Yeah.
So I can put your hands there and I can tell you they're right or they're wrong, but I can't. Yeah. And it's so quick, you know. Well, can I watch you do that again? Well, no, because it doesn't need it again. And if I set up on it again, it's And so people don't understand that about how it just, you know, you're going to feel a vertebra and it either moves or it doesn't. And if it doesn't, you're done. You just boom. And if it does, you're done and you don't do anything.
Yeah.
And it's not like it takes, like you said, it doesn't take a huge amount of force. So cool.
Yeah.
Right. Well, everybody, thank you out there for tuning in. Dr. Darryl, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. And everybody out there, remember the body heals one way. Oops, first off, how do I get a hold of you so I can get my horse adjusted or my cow?
Yeah. So we have our practice is called Herd Health Management. And we are in Gilbert, Arizona, which is just right outside of Phoenix. And our website has all of our contact information. I think we're on Facebook and Instagram, and you can send a Facebook message to get scheduled. There's so much out there on the internet that if you just look up Herd Health Management in Gilbert, Arizona, it'll take you right to us and all of our contact information.
All right. Great. All right. Remember, the body heals one way and one way only, above, down, inside out. Keep those atlases adjusted.
If you are or know a veterinarian or chiropractor, or a student of either of these professions, visit our website, Animal Chiropractic Education Source, to see how to become certified in animal chiropractic. Start improving the lives of the animals around you. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to subscribe to the ACES channels so that you never miss an exciting episode.